The legal responsibilities of a dog owner in the United Kingdom are sketchy, with new and old policies being debated in Parliament all the time, though at the moment, according to gov.uk, it's against the law to let a dog be dangerously out of control in a public place or a private place where the dog isn't allowed to be, like a neighbour's house or garden without permission, and the law applies to all dogs, though some types of dogs are banned outright. The banned breeds list includes the Pit Bull Terrier, the Japanese Tosa, the Dogo Argentino and the Fila Brasileiro. It's also against the law to sell, abandon, give away or breed from a banned dog. One of the interesting quirks of this law is it's all based on what the dog looks like rather than what the dog has done or what breed you say it is. So for example, if your dog matches any of the characteristics of a Pit Bull Terrier, it may be considered a banned type, even though you might say it's a Presa Canario, which is a similar breed but not on the banned list. So if you have a dog that the authorities deem looks like a banned dog, the police or local council dog warden can take it away and keep it even if the dog isn't acting dangerously or there hasn't even been a complaint. It's the owner's responsibility to prove that the dog is not a banned type. If they can prove this, the court will order the dog be returned to them. If they can't prove it or they plead guilty, they'll be convicted of a crime. The maximum penalty for having a banned dog is £5,000 and or 6 months in prison. The dog will also be destroyed. If the dog is banned but the court thinks it's not a danger to the public, it might be put on the index of exempted dogs. They'll be given a certificate of exemption which is valid for the life of the dog, that the dog must be neutered, tattooed, microchipped, kept on a lead and muzzled at all times when in public and kept in a secure place so it can't escape. The owner must also take insurance out against the dog injuring other people, be aged over 16 and show the certificate of exemption when asked by a police officer or council dog warden. The banned breeds list probably doesn't apply to many people watching this video, though it does give you some insight on the type of decisions made around dog legislation. Let's go back and look at what the law considers a dangerously out of control dog. Your dog is considered dangerously out of control if it injures someone or makes someone worried that it might injure them. A court could also decide that your dog is dangerously out of control if it injures someone's animal or the owner of the animal thinks that they could be injured if they try to stop your dog attacking their animal. And yes, it's still true that a farmer is allowed to kill your dog if it's worrying their livestock. You can be fined up to £5,000 and or sent to prison for up to 6 months if your dog is found to be dangerously out of control. Remember, dangerously out of control means either injuring someone or someone's animal or making someone worried that it might injure them or their animal. The court may also ban you from keeping dogs in the future. If you let your dog injure someone, you can be sent to prison for up to 2 years and or fined, and if you deliberately use your dog to injure someone, you could be charged with malicious wounding. The maximum penalty is 5 years in prison. Other legislation that dog owners should be aware of are dog control orders. Local councils in England and Wales can issue dog control orders in public places where they can insist that you keep your dog on the lead or limit the number of dogs that you can have with you, and the penalty for ignoring a dog control order is a fine. And last but not least, dog fouling. Your council has a legal duty to keep public areas clear of dog mess. If you don't clean up after your dog, you can be given an on-the-spot fine. The amount varies from council to council. It's often £50 and can be as much as £80. If you refuse to pay the fine, you can be taken to court and fined up to £1,000. Though registered blind dog owners can't be fined, which is good. It's like I said at the beginning of the video, the legal responsibility of a dog owner in the UK is sort of loose, though the penalty for crossing the line can be quite severe, and remember, crossing that line can be something as simple as making someone worried that your dog might injure them. Having said all of that, the threat of a fine or imprisonment should not be your incentive to get your dog trained. For me, I want my dog to be a safe, clean, unobtrusive and sociable citizen because my dog is part of civil society whether it realises it or not, and I, as its owner, am responsible for everything that dog does. Isn't that right, Mrs?